and get the screen sharing going here. Okay. So thank you everybody again for joining this month's session of Cafe 42. My name is Erica Thiel again. Jerry and Krista, if you guys, I'm going to do a stop share here. If you guys could chat or type in the chat log some of the things that you've got going on and what you would like covered today, that would be helpful. And then we can go ahead and jump right in. And there was a couple of things I wanted to cover today too, just because I'm working on ES 237 items. And so, but if you guys could kind of type out or explain what we want to go through or cover, then we can go ahead and start from there. Okay, so the protecting minors training for the leaders is causing us some issues for getting certificates, and it still does not show me who has taken the training. And do you have, are you having them do it through 4-H Online, or are you having them do it through Net Learning? The Plan B option. Okay. So if they are doing it through Plan B, they have to go through. Okay, so they are getting the certificate so that it is completed. It will not, if they are doing the training through Plan B, it actually will not show as completed. So let me do you have a name of a person, Jerry or Krista, that I could show you where to enter? Okay, Cindy Wanstrom. Okay. Right. So I'll explain here what's going on here. Share screen. Yeah. Okay. So for the folks that do the protecting minors training through Plan B, so basically they're completing the training through Net Learning. When they do that training, I will get a copy of the certificate and then we'll send that on to you guys. However, the member has done the training, it will not show as completed in 4-H Online because that training system is through Net Learning. It is done through the university. So that will never show up in 4-H Online that they have completed it. However, in the additional information section of their profile, what we can do is enter in on about most of the way down, there's a line here. These are manager fields that will only show up for you guys and not for the volunteer. But you can enter the date that their training was completed, and then the follow-up to that as far as how to keep track of who has or has not completed the training is to go into your reports, and there will be a shared report and the volunteer approval checklist report. And what this report does, I'll go ahead and export it to PDF. This gives you a rundown of basically all of your volunteers. And if you are a county that requires payments, as part of that enrollment process. It will mark, you will be able to say, okay, enrollment fee is paid, or if you don't do enrollment fees, it'll be NA. But if they've done the training through the system, they'll give them a date. For the folks that have done it through Net Learning, so the ones that you get certificates on, then there should be a date in here. And then the other piece of that is their background screens. So this is kind of one-stop shopping for you to kind of keep track of those volunteers. One thing that we have done with the Protecting Minors training, you should have gotten a listserv email. We have gotten that PowerPoint into a format to where you guys can do a group delivery. So if you were to do a leaders council meeting and wanted to incorporate the Protecting Minors training as part of a presentation before you got into your business, to where folks would get that training completed and kind of do a group delivery, then that would be another way to deliver that training. And again, then you would just enter in that date. If we need to have certificates, we can do that, but you would just enter in that date for those group deliveries in this in that manager field, if that makes sense. I am working with risk management to see if we can liven up the content, but as far as for this year, a variation of that training won't happen since we're into the 4-H year, but that is on my list with Nancy to get something that's not so dry, that would still hit the content and have perhaps a little bit more interaction. So that is something to be on the lookout for, hopefully for next year. Does that answer both of your guys' questions on that? Okay. Okay. All right. So then, any questions on that shared report? Or where I accessed that from? Okay. All right. Any other questions or issues that you guys are having? And if you need a copy of that PowerPoint, or if you didn't get that, let me know and I can resend that. A couple of things that I had on my list was going through group enrollments and kind of if you have any Eat Smart Idaho programs that are going on. We're trying to get our numbers in, so youth contact information. Oh, verified volunteers. Okay, so that's a little out of my wheelhouse. If you have volunteers that are having issues getting in for their background screens, you can call Nancy Melville, or another option is to call Verified directly. And I would get specific information as far as if it's a login issue or what information they're running into as far as getting those verified screens processed and getting into that system to access. Okay, so Krista, you're doing a civil rights review. We'd like to incorporate a way to have all the leaders to do a PowerPoint and have certificate like Protecting Minors. So in your county, a requirement that you're having is to do the civil rights review. And so if you want, I could add another field, a manager field for civil rights review, so then that would show up as a manager field. Unfortunately, I can't do it just for your counties. I have to do it across the board, but if that would be a field that would be helpful for you guys, I can add that. And then what I can do is I have a certificate template, and then we can just change the verbiage of what that is. It's not something that would show up. Every county has that field on the civil rights review. Okay, so is the field already showing up in 4-H Online for the civil rights review? Every county. Every county. Okay, so where is the field that they okay, so there's a separate PDF from their files. I guess is it in the member log? Oh, part of the employee handbook? Okay. All right. So what I can do so that you have that information for tracking for 4-H Online, as you're going through that process, what I can do, I will add another field for civil rights review, and then I will also add another optional information. So what you can do, if this box setup is for the protecting minors training, but what I can do is kind of create that same thing for the civil rights review, and then I'll also add those elements into your, does it need to be included in that volunteer approval checklist? Is that part, are you including that civil rights review as part of their certification process? Or no, or are you just using that as a training? Because if it's a training thing, I could add that in there, and then we could add it into this list. Would that be better? Okay. Okay. So I'll add those fields in there. I won't add that into the volunteer approval checklist piece, but I will add that training. And so both of those elements will show up in 4-H Online, so that way you have a way of capturing that. And then as you have folks that complete that training, one way to do that, yes. So Jerry, to kind of clarify, what I mean by that is what I'll do is at the state level, I will add that as a training, and then as you take and do the trainings with your folks, what you can do is pull up your names and flag them. And let's say all of these folks have taken the training. Now, granted, I got some youth in there or whatever, but you flag them first, then you add the flagged to training, and then what you'll see here, this will show up on the list, but I will add in there. It'll say state and then civil rights review. You will select that training, and once that training all pulls up, then you can hit that green arrow and then add your members to the training. And you click that button. These names will still show up there, but when that transfer, if you will, happens, their names will add to that list, and then you just hit close and then clear your flags once you're done. My system's being a little slow today. And then that way you have a way to track that. So then on the trainings tab, to see where you're at, you can just pull that from the list, and then you have everybody in there. And does that help? Will that work for you guys? Okay. I can see if there is any content for a civil rights review. And I can visit with Nancy on that. To my knowledge, I don't have pre-stocked civil rights review training from the university. That doesn't mean I can't get one, so I can get in contact with either risk management or HR and see what's out there, and then get it modified or in a format that's similar to protecting minors. So at this point, that's not quite ready, but I can work on that. And then let's see, add fields. Just writing down some notes here, so I have that. Right. Any other items you guys have before I jump into group enrollments? Okay. So one of the things that I'm working on right now is kind of that final checks and balances, if you will, for ES 237. And so this is something that automatically compiles on our older system. If you guys were on board during that time when we were in 4-H class, you had to process the report, and that information is already compiled in 4-H Online in counties. It's pretty much an automatic process. At any point in time, you guys can check your ES 237 or run your ES 237. It actually gives you a good gauge as far as where you're at with retention and where you're hitting your marks with as far as programming. And your ES 237 is a standard report. So if on your enrollment reports tab, if you go to standard, you will see it here. And you can actually run your ES 237 from any point in time. So whether it's last year, 13, 14, you name it, you can run that. Like I said, you can run that report at any time. So I lost my train of thought there. So one of the things that I'm going through is looking at overall, big picture. And if you have any county folk or educators or extension folks that are doing programs with youth, group enrollment information should be entered into the system. And what would be included in a group enrollment report would be if there's programming that has been done for like livestock camps, day camps, or if they are doing Eat Smart programming, and if they're making contacts with youth. And so the process for adding a group enrollment, if you click on the group enrollment icon and click add group enrollment, you basically enter in the program name, the description, your starting and end date. If it is something that was for last year, you can still enter that in. You can select the 14, 15 from the drop-down menu. And then the delivery mode, there's a lot of different varieties in your delivery modes, everything from special interest to school enrichment, which is the category for Eat Smart programs, or if they're doing after school programs. We do capture in this section if there's any youth from military families. And then they do ask for a project link. So there are some generic project link categories. And I'm going to jump over to a county that's got some group enrollments in there right now. And so then if we go to this one, and you can see this was a water stewards presentation for Ida H2O. Jim Eakins, who's at the Kootenai County office, he is actually housed at the water center. He does water quality programming with youth. He also does master water stewards programs with adults. But on this particular workshop, it was a day camp. He had 3 hours of contact with youth. And then there's a generic water quality program or project link. But what we capture on this is our numbers. And so we capture all of our participants, whether they're in 4-H or not. And on this is total number of participants were 12 and they were new. So there were no duplicates on that. So duplicates are considered 4-H participants. And we also capture racial, their ethnicity information, residence information, and grade. And then the second part of this, your group enrollment form, is your volunteer distribution. So if there are volunteers that are new to the program or duplicates, actually new volunteers only, we capture those if they are youth or even adult. And then again, we're capturing ethnicity. A direct volunteer is actually having direct interaction. They're a direct manager, if you will, for 4-H, or indirect. Indirect volunteers would be those that are not screened, not in the system. So basically anybody perhaps as just a helper in that regard would be considered an indirect volunteer. And you have that same classification for your youth. And down here, you have a training distribution. So volunteers trained. It can be either in leadership, parenting skills, or any other topics, but there is a training component to that. And then you just click Submit Form. One of the things that I've got set up on the staff help sheet page is a whole entire section dedicated to reporting and the group enrollment information. So if you're having questions about, okay, well, I've done this program, but do I need to do a reporting on it or not? The reporting guidelines help sheet is going to be your best friend. And with the help of Nancy Shellstead and Maureen Toomey, we kind of knock this out. As far as, if you're doing after-school activities, be it 4-H Friday or early out days, then, should a group enrollment be done? Yes. Is it a 4-H after-school club? No. What I mean by a 4-H after-school club is the children are enrolled as a working, functioning 4-H club. So that would be a duplication because our regular enrollments factor in that 4-H club model, if you will. So there's a whole variety of different programming and camps and that type of thing that are covered in that reporting guidelines tip sheet. It also provides some clarification on ES 237 definitions and terminology as far as the race, participants, what quantifies a 4-H member or a unit, and then your volunteer types. And so if you have new staff or if you have questions on that, this section is very helpful on that. And then I also have the group enrollment form. So if you have educators or if you are doing programming, can you guys see this word sheet? Okay, so what this covers, basically, for any of your programs, you're going to want to fill out this paperwork. And one of the things I ran into a lot when I worked in the county was in that madness of getting an event going and getting the ball running. Did I have time to really sit down and get a head count? No, but this is a great thing to have a helper, or even if a team person could get a head count, kind of like that pre-check-in, just to go, okay, we have new people, we're capturing our total numbers. This captures all of the information that we are needing in that group enrollment form, and this will very well help them out when they go to fill out CAL's plan as far as their programming and contact hours and their overall reach. So if you guys have questions on that, or if your educator has questions on this form or what's needed, don't hesitate, but this is critical information as far as our overall programming, and this data actually is submitted to USDA. Unfortunately for us, the reporting done in CAL's plan is a separate system than 4-H Online. And so what is submitted in CAL's plan basically stays internally. What information that we get and what we are reporting in 4-H Online does go further. It does go to USDA. So they are two separate worlds, and although reporting may have been done in CAL's plan, we also need to get those youth numbers plugged into 4-H Online. So that information is on the website. Speaking of the website, over the course of this upcoming year, there will be a transition from this web CAL's address to the actual 4-H website. So we will be transitioning this content over to Sitecore. I will keep this page up and viable as long as I can until the new page is established. So if there are errors or issues with this page, please let me know. I am going to make sure that this page stays as viable as long as it can. But were there any questions on that reporting piece? Okay. Does that help clarify kind of the ins and outs of how to do that? Okay. Another piece that I wanted to cover was kind of the records cleanup. A lot of folks have gotten like their base data in the system, but one of the things that we want to kind of keep doing is doing that search, if you will, for duplicate records. Now, I'm not too familiar with Kootenai County's data set, but you can see right here we already have, there's right here, Tristan and Tristan. So we have an archived and an inactive. I've been working with Charlotte on those duplicate records. And if you run into a duplicate, and you can either search for those by name, you can sometimes search for them by an address. But the biggie for me is the year that it was created. And since we have our 4-H years kind of, they have what the system perceives as an overlap. And what I mean by that is if you looked at like 2013, 2014, and then you have 2014, 2015. If there was a record that was created in 2013, 14, I could not merge that in. And what I mean by that is I can actually make those two records into one. So I had to wait. I will have to wait for a lot of these duplicates for this year. And if it was something created last year, I'm going to have to wait to the new 4-H year to get rid of that overlap. But if you do run into duplicate records, just give me the names. I can merge those usually, and if not, I have a file where I kind of keep track of those, and it's my never-ending to-do list. But you do want to try to get that data cleaned up, and that helps keep a more accurate data set for you guys. I cannot just delete the duplicate. It's much easier to merge that, and sometimes you have duplicate family records, and so what I do is I move the duplicate records into the correct family account. I get rid of that duplicate family account, and then I can merge them from there. If their information has truly changed, then the older record we archive. I really don't have a way of doing a lock, stock, and barrel delete. I can with the member or with the family records once there's everybody out of there. But if you do have a situation like that where it technically shouldn't be merged, then we just want to archive that record, and then we should be able to carry forward with the newer account, if that makes sense. You might be able to do that, Jerry. If not, just send that to me, and I can take care of that. But for the moving members and that type of thing, let me log in here. You should have on your panel here. Well, I get. Okay, Darlin family. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Emma Ray, Jesse. Okay. So looks like this would be the inactive record. Is that the one you're wanting to be archived? Okay. So when you log in, you should get the manager control panel. Okay, and then what you get, you do get that ability to archive them. I would just archive that record, and then that helps. Now, are there duplicate family accounts too? Okay. Do you want me to move all of the old records into one family, or do you want me to archive the family? Because I might be able to. Okay. All right. Her email changed. So the one that was 2013 should be the one that's archived. Okay. Now, okay, so I'm seeing 2 accounts for the Blattner Lane, and then the one for the Interstate Avenue. Is the Interstate Avenue should be the one that's archived, correct? Okay. So I'm gonna. All right, got that. Now, for the Blattner Lane, should this duplicate family account be deleted? And then I can move these accounts into the other account. Perfect. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm gonna change. So how I do this, for the family, oh, what is their primary telephone number? Do we know offhand? I'm just gonna do, I can do this and I can look it up. So then I go to here and log in. And then what I can do is, So when I log into this member, you notice I get a pop-up move to a different family. So with me doing the all caps, then that's a way for me to delineate which account is the one I want to move her to. So I select that and then change family. And I don't know why it won't let me move the contact. I don't know. I'll have to work on that one. So let me play around with that one. I wonder. Can I delete her as a contact, Jerry? Hello? Okay, so in the other Darland account, she is in there as an active adult. And so with this, we could delete her as a contact. And then I can delete this duplicate. Yeah, I can delete the contact, and when everything's out, then I can delete that family. Is that okay? Okay, so on this account, then she shouldn't, on the big family, she has actually an active volunteer record in here. She's not a volunteer? Okay, so then she should not have she should not have a record. She should actually, if she is not a volunteer, and that's either a resource leader, a project leader, or whatever, she should not have an account in here. And then we can make this, I can deactivate this and then create a different contact. Are you kidding me? Okay. Are you still there? My power just went out. Is everybody still here? Sorry about that. Okay, my power just went out. Is everybody still here? Hello? Are you guys still here? Am I here? Okay, all right, great. Sorry about that. I had like this loud bang I heard from outside, and everything went dark in the office. All of our power went out. That was, I hope nobody got hurt. That was really bizarre. Yeah. Fun and excitement in North Idaho for sure. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, then Amanda is not a volunteer, correct? Okay, so then we need to deactivate her, and I'm going to do that now. And should I delete her member record? Is she just and she should just be a contact, correct? Okay, I'm gonna delete that. Now let me see if I can move. All right, I'm gonna just, I don't know why I can't change. Okay, right, 208-390-4753, mail. And, I'm gonna delete, and then I can delete this. I guess at the state office, I can remove the family. Oh, did it have, is that why that was? That's why I couldn't delete it, because there was an archived person. Okay, now I should be able to delete the family. And if I go to here, and okay. And then oh, all right. I think we are set. So contacts, I think, remain active. Okay, so I will archive. Okay, so that one's set, but for the most part, a lot of these I can merge and then clean that up. So unless there's major changes, the merge is the better way to do that, but we should be good to go with that record. But if you do have questions on that, let me know. Krista, did you have any other questions? Hi, Rosie.
Good morning. Sorry so late, but I just want to pop on and see what you guys were doing.
Okay. So some of the things that I'm going to do is stop sharing here. So some of the things that we talked about, we've gone over adding a civil rights review training. Some of the counties are going through that. I am going to be visiting with HR or risk management and Nancy to see if there is some sort of training that we can make available. I'm going to add that as a training option, and then we'll also add that record date in the manager field section. So where that information is on the additional information for folks. And then that way, because some counties are requiring that training for their leaders. So then that way, as they go through that process, they have a way of recording that. They can pull a report or look at the trainings tab to see who has or has not done that. And then we've talked about group enrollment. So if there's group enrollment data that hasn't been entered in for last year, I'm doing some house cleaning on that, and particularly if there's any Eat Smart programs where we have youth contacts, that information needs to get in. And then we were just covering on that last section there, the duplicate records and some of that house cleaning stuff. And I think we're pretty much set. Did you have anything that you had questions on?
No, I just like to listen in when I can, but on the, so the duplicate records, you still just want us to send you a list of people that need to come out, like the kids who have graduated and gone on, and...
You can actually archive them. If they've graduated, you can archive them. They're still in the system. You have that information.
Okay, so if we keep those in, does it slow the system down at all, or?
No, not
so
at
just
all.
archive them.
Yep.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. If you guys don't have anything else, oh, one other thing I did cover, Rosie. We have been having some issue with the staff help sheets page. It is back up and working. Over the course of this year, I will be rebuilding that in Sitecore, and we'll make that transition to diffuse this website at the very last moment. I will not go with the Sitecore address until everything's in there and ready to rock and roll. But it is up and active, and if there are any questions on the group enrollment pieces or whatever, all of that information is on there. And if you have questions, just let me know.
Wonderful. I do have one question.
Sure.
Dina talked to me about it this morning before she left. We have someone that went on, and I haven't gone in to look, but it's on Roxanne Beck. And she said that she hit the employee button. Now, can't I just go in and switch that out for her when I review?
No, she's probably in my queue, which she is. So I will hit her as a no, she's not employee. And now she should show up in your pending list of employees.
Boy, talk about perfect timing. Wonderful.
So
thank you.
You're good to go. Well, thank you, everybody. I do apologize for the surge or whatever happened, but we're set to go, and we'll talk to you guys next month.
Hey, see ya. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.